I have definitely gone through my own phases of more money, more things, more deals. And I would tell you from my standpoint, it was a not enoughness that clearly was inside of me, that I didn't feel I was enough, that I needed to go outward for more to validate myself, to really be happy. And I've learned that's just not true, that more and more does not make you happier. But there is a limit to that. It's not going to have the same sort of, there's a diminishing return. It doesn't continue to fill you.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Okay, welcome to the podcast. Most people don't, but you do. We are thrilled to welcome Brett Kaufman to this studio today, and we're going to talk about his company, Inner Space, and how he helps people. Brett, I'm glad you're here.
Bart, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you.
All right, first question. Name of the show is Most People Don't, but You Do. What do you do that most people don't do, Brett Kaufman?
It's a great question. It's super hard to differentiate in today's world, but you know what I do is I use the almost 30 years of being in business in a variety of ways, of being a founder, of being a employer of hundreds of people over the years, of being a father to three adult sons, to being a husband of the last 25 years, to really using my entire life experience to really be of service to other people and help them navigate through the inevitable difficult transitions that we all experience in life. So I've got a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, a tremendous amount of tools in my tool bag, various modalities and experts that I bring in ultimately to just sit with people, be with them, and help them navigate life.
And Brett, most people don't do that. Brett is an entrepreneur, an advisor, and a host of Inner Space. And he helps guide high performing humans on what matters most in work and in life. Through Inner Space's podcast, your advisory practice, and your investing work, you help founders, executives, and emerging entrepreneurs realign with themselves and others so they can build their work and life beyond what they ever imagined. Brett, kind of rapid fire questions here. And I know we're limited on time today, but I
Yeah.
believe we want to get you back on. What makes you qualified to be able to help people other than the desire to help people? This is a most respectful way of asking. What makes you
No,
so qualified, Brett?
no, it's a great question. I'm glad you're asking because I do think that it's important that when you seek some help from somebody, that you're seeking help from somebody that's actually lived the experience that you're having and that really can explain to you what's worked, what hasn't worked, and really try to actually use their own experience in service of you. I believe that's what we're all here for, to use our life experience to create from ultimately in service of other people. I would never hire a coach. I would never hire a therapist. I would never hire an assistant, a trainer, any kind of avenue of life of somebody who hasn't done the work. So that's something that whether it's me or somebody else, I think really important. Have you done your own work? You can
Yeah.
only take somebody as far as you've gone yourself. And I've got a long way to go. I'm a work in progress, but I've done a few things and I think I can be helpful to other
Yeah.
people.
Brett, how would you summarize what you've done before? So on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, I tried to do some research and you
Yeah.
provided some great information on things to talk about. But
Sure.
what was your career like up until now? Were
Yeah.
you in tech? Were you a CEO? Were you a
Sure.
founder?
I was a founder and CEO of a real estate development company, which I still own and run today. But for the last 15 years, I have built, managed, constructed, sold billions of dollars worth of real estate. We have focused on building mixed use communities that were intentional. The world's largest conscious community was developed here in Columbus, Ohio, which our company did, called the Gravity Project. Along the way, and I've been in real estate and I've owned and operated businesses for the last 25 years. But along the way, I've also done a tremendous amount of investing, advisory work, mentoring, coaching. And that was something that I did as a passion. And now with Innerspace, I've created that into a more structured organizational work. But for the last decade at a minimum, I've been giving back what many have given to me: great mentorship, great coaching, advisory, and investment. So that's really what Inner Space is now doing formally.
You've had great success, continue to still have great success. What made you want to then help more people? Was there a turning point? Did something happen? You're like, oh my gosh, our business is booming. Now it's time to be able to give back even more. What are your thoughts?
I think this is the thing that people grapple with, and I certainly have and did. I can tell you though, at the core, even when I was a kid and certainly into college, I loved the idea of psychology. I've always loved the work of self help. I've been a self help junkie since I was a little kid, going to therapy, Wayne Dyer books on tape, Landmark Forum. I've always gravitated to all of this kind of work. It's been in me. It's who I am. And you do get to a point where you've climbed that mountain and you've achieved a lot and you've received the validations and the awards and the accolades and you've made the money, and you look around and go, I could keep doing this, but that doesn't feel like it's filling me up anymore. What does fill you up is the stuff that you're not getting paid for, or I wasn't, which was just being of service. When you're of service and when you start to really create value for other people and it's really fulfilling, you start to go, this is actually something I love to do and I could do it for the rest of my life. It doesn't feel like work. This doesn't feel like anything but a labor of love. When you're really creating a lot of value, you want to benefit from that value. And so that's where I've started to really start to invest and advise and coach and really start to see, how can I help somebody and benefit from the help I'm providing?
Brett, it sounds like such a nice thing to be of service to others and help, and it's making you feel fulfilled. And I don't doubt that. There's a lot of people that say that and don't necessarily mean that. I would love to be able to dig into, where do you think that comes from, Brett? Were you brought up that way that you wanted to be helpful? Because more and more people, Brett, like you that I'm meeting, like through David Melcher and so many people within that group, there are really great people like you that are doing good things for the right reasons that you don't need to. Where do you think that comes from for you?
I do actually believe it's like why we are all here. I really do believe that the end of the day, at least I'm here. I shouldn't say all of us. And I believe that, but I can speak for myself. I believe that I am here ultimately to use my life, the experiences I've had, all of the things, good, bad, and otherwise, the suffering, the failures, the pain, but certainly all of the wins and all of the beauty that's been showered upon me, all of the mentors, the coaching, the blessings. I have many, so many. I have so much gratitude. Thing is, I have gratitude for all of it, and I want to use it. I want to be able to give back. I will say, admittedly, it's not selfless. It is both in tandem. I want to be of service and I want to be able to benefit from what I'm offering people. I want to be able to create value. I love the definition of profit where you are paid based on the value you are creating. So I want to really be able to support people and be able to continue to do that in a very loving and connected way where we all are benefiting. That's just who I am. It's at my core and it's why I believe I'm here.
Brett, were you brought up that way? Were you like that as a kid that you wanted to be able to help others?
I would say I was like that as a kid. I didn't know how to tap into that. That wasn't necessarily the conditioning I had. I had an extremely loving mother who showered me with all sorts of love and wonderful values. My father was a hard driven business guy who believed in success and reputation and money and material things. And he struggled. He was an addict, and we had a lot of really hard times. I would say that I learned both the good and the bad. I learned both what to do and what not to do, the things to value and the things not to value as a kid. But really, what I firmly believe is it just was at my soul level. And I believe it is for all of us that at the end of the day, we are one and that we are here to be connected and to be loving to one another, to be of service to one another. Again, that doesn't mean that we're sitting in a circle, kumbaya,
Mhm.
not doing anything. It means that we're in action, but we're supporting each other in the most loving and connected and inspiring and motivating way. That's what I believe is really at my deepest part of my soul and where it's always been. But it took me a while to find it. I lost it and I've come back to it over time and now I'm clear about it.
And great, certainly great to hear. I was just having this conversation the other day with a friend, and we were talking about money and power for some reason. And his philosophy was smart gentleman. His philosophy was that when people have money and power, that you need to be a little off. You need to be a little bit wacky because he thinks that not there aren't normal people that would want to have money and power. So we got into a little bit of a debate that I was saying I'm beginning to meet people that have money and have power and are still doing good things. Not that they want more for selfish reasons, but they're doing good things. We use the example of the founder of, is it Patagonia? Are you familiar with this
Yeah.
story?
Yeah.
Gave $3 billion away, and he did not like being a billionaire. It was the worst day of his life, and he wants to give money away to help global environment and affect change in things. I'm just curious, with your success, did you ever feel that you wanted more and more success and more
Yes.
and more power? Can you walk us
Yes.
through that
Yes.
situation?
It was never really about power for me. That was not something that I ever thrived on. In fact, when I was in the spotlight, I always saw it as good for my business, but it was never the focus. I really, and I've gone through various times of being front and center and then being in the background. When I'm in the background, I don't miss being front and center. I don't mind doing it if it's purposeful, but it's not why it doesn't give me any energy. I'm probably a little bit more naturally introverted, but I have definitely gone through my own phases of more money, more things, more deals. And I would tell you from my standpoint, it was a not enoughness that clearly was inside of me, that I didn't feel I was enough, that I needed to go outward for more to validate myself, to really be happy. And I've learned that's just not true, that more does not make you happier. I will say that I'm somebody that has really enjoyed making money and having money. The reason I enjoy it is because it allows me to do so many beautiful things. It allows me to have a lot of fun, a lot of safety, a lot of security, a lot of freedom. I'm able to be really generous. I'm able to give back. I'm able to invest in other people. I'm able to move through the world in a way that feels much easier and much more effortless and much more
Mhm.
joyful, candidly. But there is a limit to that. It's
Mm,
not going to have the same sort of, there's a diminishing return. It doesn't continue to fill you. And at the core, what I had to do was that inside work. That is why my business, my podcast, everything is called the inner space, because I don't believe it's going to outer space, that it's space travel, literally, that it's going outward, that is really the work that needs to be done. The work that needs to be done is on the inside. And there is so much work to be done there. There's so much information that's in the body. There's so much information that's in the heart, that's in the soul, that when you clear out, when you use a number of the modalities that I work with, when you start to really clear out all the conditioning, all the clutter, all the chatter in your brain, and you get into that embodied space where you can really hear your truth and start to build from that. Ironically, you can make a lot of money, you can accumulate a lot of things, but you start doing it in a way that feels loving, that feels joyful, that
Mm.
feels fulfilling, that feels effortless. That's where I'm at today, where I'm
Yeah.
still doing a lot of things, investing in a lot of people, making a lot of money, having a lot of fun, but it's easy, it's joyful, it doesn't
Mhm.
feel like work. That's really what you want to get to.
And it should be content and at peace. And I was just thinking of this the other day. We just got back from a trip, West Coast trip presenting, and then our daughter lives in Hawaii. So we went over to visit her in Hawaii and then just made the trip, came all the way back last night. And there were on a couple of occasions where someone surprised me from a service element. There was a coffee shop in California called La Land. And this one woman was taking my coffee order, and I put the credit card through and I was just waiting for it to get processed. She said, and there's a lot of people behind me, Brett. She said, "What are your plans for the weekend?" And I was like, "What?" I'm just curious. What are your plans for the weekend? It was just the nicest, most authentic way of saying something. And I talk a lot about this term called humanality. Humanality is the ability of making people feel cared for, valued, and seen in a highly processed world, in a highly transactional world. I was blown away that she took the time with 18 other people behind me to take the time to look me in the eye and ask me that question. It just was amazing. So I thanked her for it. And I gave her a gratitude stone. I gave her a business card and I told her we talk about doing what most people don't. And you just did, Erica. You just did what most people don't do. And I went and did some work, came back to get another coffee from my wife. And she said, "It's on me." I was like, "What do you mean? You're blowing me away. It's on you. It's on me. Just enjoy it. I like talking to you." And the example that I just wanted to share is that I don't normally travel with cash on me. Everything's by credit card. But I had a $20 bill in my pocket. And I felt compelled to give it to Erica because I could. I didn't need that $20 right then and there. I folded up in a napkin. I didn't know if she could accept tips. And I said, "Erica, I think this fell out of your pocket, wink." She was just blown away. But I'm getting that sense from you, Brett, that the givingness, you can make a lot of money, you could keep it for yourself, or make a lot of money and do good and do nice things and over tip and over surprise and over deliver. Those are the things that really matter. I really appreciate, Brett, what you're sharing, and it resonates so deeply with me. Can you give us an example with Inner Space and how you're helping people? If I were a new client, as an example, what were some initial questions that you might ask me? I'm just curious.
I think for me, it really does start with the listening. I just want to know where you're at, what's going on, what your challenges are. There's a set of discovery questions that I learned through a coaching program I worked with extensively called Built to Lead, and you will lean on some of those questions. What that is, I want to know, what do you believe? What is your worldview? Do you have an identity? Do you have a purpose? Really get people to start thinking about things that most people aren't thinking about. They're on autopilot. They're not awake. What I like to try to say at Inner Space, what we're doing is we're awakening, we're then aligning, and then we're getting you into an extremely expansive mode. That expansive mode is when you're just so on fire, you're aligned, you know what you believe about the world, you know who you are, you know why you're here, and everything else is just noise. You don't listen to judgment, you don't listen to that inner chatter. You say no to things. You know exactly how you want to spend your time, who you want to spend it with, and everything else you tune out. But the first step is really starting to get you awake. Most people are running on old conditioning, childhood conditioning, societal conditioning, familial conditioning. They're thinking about their peers. They're not listening to themselves. They're not willing to trust themselves. You talked a little bit about the conversation with your friend about power and do you have to be crazy? You don't have to be crazy in the way that I think maybe some powerful money hungry people are crazy, but you have to be crazy enough to tune out the judgment, to tune out the systematic societal norms and really trust yourself. You can't do that unless you realize that you're not doing it, that you awaken enough to start to go, what do I believe? Who am I? So that's really where we start.
And I'm reading a couple of other items that you shared with me through Inner Space. The process is simple: awaken, align, and expand. You're partnering with leaders who are ready to build what's next by first letting go of what no longer serves them, which I just think is so important. It is so needed these days. There's another gentleman that we're friends with owns a coffee shop nearby. and he sold his tech company years ago for a lot of money. And whenever I see him, I'm like, hey, have you started something new? No, not yet. I'm still looking for the thing. I'm like, well, how's it going? I said, is it true? Just tell me if this is the case. You probably never need to work again. He's like, I don't need to work. It's like, how does that feel? That should be feeling good. He's like, it's brutal. It is hard when you don't need to work and you have not found that something that is next to be able to motivate you, to make you feel content and happy and at peace, to be able to serve and give to others. When here I am thinking, oh my gosh, millionaire, billionaire does not need to work, yet he is missing that purpose. It sounds like, Brett, correct me if I'm wrong, these are the things that you are helping people with, entrepreneurs and leaders that are ready to build what's next. And they probably just need someone to talk to, be guided, because you've already done it. You've done it,
Yeah.
you've done it, you've done it. And now you can give people some insight into their inner space on how they can figure things out to find more clarity and purpose. Am I getting it right, what you do,
You
Brendan?
are. That's exactly right. A lot of times people are coming to me where they're thinking about an exit. They're not sure, what am I going to do? This is all I know. Or they've exited and they're in
Mm,
that space. Usually, what happens is we start to really get aligned. People really start to figure out what really matters to them. Ultimately, most people end up starting something new. And this time around, they're using all of that experience to make sure that they're doing it right. They're doing it and thinking about their health. They're doing it and thinking about their spouses and their children. And they're thinking about what it is they're doing and how it matters and how it aligns with their purpose. That's really a common, not the only people that I work with, but there is a common thread where founders are in that space of some sort of transition and they're realizing there's got to be something more here. I don't know what it is. Sometimes they don't even have that language. They're just feeling something that's really unsettling and they just know that they need help. That's where I
mm.
was when I got help. It's made a huge difference in my life and I'm honored to be able to do the same for other people now.
Fun, fun. I'm so grateful to have met you, Brett Kaufman. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. Someone that is successful like you, that have unraveled success and failure and have landed again on success, and is able to teach people based on what you've learned how to be able to ask the right questions to yourself to get realigned, to find that success and content and peace. Founder, again, entrepreneur, advisor, and host of Inner Space. Brett, if people would like to learn more about you, how can they contact you? Where should they go?
Joininnerspace.com or brettkaufman.com. You can find everything you need to know about me there, all the socials. You can find me, brettkaufman.com. Thank you so much. It's great to spend some time with you. Look forward to doing more. Love to
Good.
have you
Well,
on the Inner Space podcast.
wow.
Take a look for that also wherever you listen to your podcast, the Inner
Wow.
Space podcast with Brett Kaufman. But it's wonderful to be with you and look forward to spending more time.
Thank you, Brett. And again, sorry it was so short today. Next time we get you on, I do want to dig deeper into, we got a little bit about what you do, who you are, basically, and why you do it.
Yeah.
And want to be able to get deeper into some of the people that you've helped, because I'm sure our listeners would be ripe for being able to work with you. So that's next time. Deal?
Awesome. I'd love to do
All right.
that. It's my pleasure. It's my favorite conversation. So we'll do
All
it
right.
next time.
Awesome.
Thanks, Bart.
Thank you so much,
Take
Brett
care.
Kaufman. Appreciate it. All right.